My parents borrowed more money using our house as security to help my sister's business, which didn't work out. Now they're asking me to stop going to college so we can pay off the debt. Hey there, it's pretty late right now, so please excuse any errors or if I start venting. I'm in a tough spot at the moment. I'm a 19-year-old girl with an older sister who's 23. She's always been the favorite child, and my parents have never been shy about showing it. Honestly, I don't think they even wanted me. They've always made me feel like I don't matter, constantly pushing me aside to focus on my sister. My sister isn't anything special, to be honest. I'll be straightforward, she's just not as good as me in anything. Yet my parents have always praised and supported her. I've always been better than her in school, sports, and pretty much everything else. I guess I'm competitive because I wanted the same love and attention they gave her, so I kept trying to outshine her. But that only made my parents like me less, and they'd call me an attention seeker. By the time I got to high school, I realized that nothing I did would make my parents like me more than my sister. So I stopped trying to impress them. I kept doing well in school and sports, but now it was for myself and my future, not for my parents' approval. My sister, on the other hand, seemed jealous of me. She liked the attention from our parents and didn't like it when they showed any favoritism towards me. But everyone else could see that I was the more capable sibling. I tried to be friends with my sister, but she was always too focused on herself to be nice to me. By the time college came around, I wasn't on good terms with anyone in my family, and honestly, we were all kind of relieved to go our separate ways. I started college 2 years ago, studying business because I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Luckily, I have a scholarship that covers most of my tuition fees, and my best friend's dad is paying the rest. He knows about my family situation and understands that my parents wouldn't support me financially if it meant I could do better than my sister. So he stepped in to help me avoid asking my parents for money or taking out a student loan. Even though he's covering a smaller portion of my tuition because of the scholarship, I'm still really grateful to him. I plan to repay him when I can, but for now, he's taking care of my education along with his own daughters. They're wealthy, unlike my family, so it's not a burden for them, and I feel lucky to have such generous support compared to what my parents offer. My parents believe I'm attending college for free because I told them my tuition was fully covered. They were relieved since they wouldn't have to spend any money on my education and could continue spoiling my sister. I also work part-time as a tutor to cover other expenses, and while I have to live frugally, my college provides accommodation and food, so I don't have many worries. My family isn't financially stable. They mortgaged their jewelry at my grandpa's house years ago to fund their business, but they're still struggling. They don't listen to my advice, so I can't help them. I used to worry about their debts until I learned that I'm not responsible for them since I'm not a cosigner. Now I focus on myself because helping people who don't respect me or my skills isn't worth my time. Yesterday, my parents called me and said my sister was in trouble along with them. They asked for my help to fix things. They had borrowed money by using our house as collateral to support my sister's bakery about a year ago. My sister didn't have experience in running a business or baking, so it wasn't a smart decision. They never told me about this loan before, and I didn't ask where the money came from for my sister's business, so I didn't know about the mortgage until they told me. They'd insisted I return home to help manage their finances and run the family business since my sister's bakery had failed. They wanted me to work full-time, quit college, and contribute financially to the family. It was like they expected this to be a normal request. When I questioned why I should quit college for them, they said it was my duty as a family member. They believed I couldn't handle college, the family business, and another job all at once, so quitting college seemed like the easiest option since it kept me away from home and cleared one obstacle. I couldn't believe they were asking me to give up my future so casually, like it was no big deal. I lost my temper when my dad insisted I return home to save the family from financial trouble caused by their poor decisions. I told him I didn't owe them anything and that their problems weren't my responsibility because they hadn't treated me like family before. They'd always made me feel inferior, and now that they needed me, they'd expected everything to be fine. It just didn't sit right with me. My dad tried to guilt me by saying I should come back for the sake of the place I'd lived for 20 years, but that house never felt like home. It was just a place to me. I told him that before hanging up and cutting off contact with my family. I used to hold on to hope that they would change, but now I see they never will. I'm tired of waiting for them to be better people. I was in a terrible mood all day, skipping classes and avoiding everyone because I'm overwhelmed with emotions. I'm furious that my parents wanted me to sacrifice my future because of my sister's mistakes, and theirs too, to be honest. But I also feel guilty for cutting them off when I know I could help. I don't understand why I feel guilty, and I'm not sure what to do about it. It's been a day, and I thought I'd feel better, but I still feel awful. The last time I saw my family was at Christmas, and it was okay. We didn't fight, and my sister was nice to me. But now I wonder if they were just pretending because they knew they might need my help later. I feel confused and awful. I haven't talked to anyone about this, not even my best friend, because I don't know how to begin. I guess I'm here because I need reassurance that I'm not wrong for cutting off my family when they asked for help after treating me badly for so long. Update 1. Hey everyone. I want to thank you all for understanding how I feel and telling me I'm not selfish. I've been thinking about this a lot. I don't get why my parents thought I'd help them after everything. I can't believe I missed a whole day of classes over this. That's what I regret the most right now. Laugh out loud. It's been 3 days since then, and I haven't heard from them. I'm not interested in what they're doing. I have enough on my plate. I shared what happened with my best friend, who kindly offered to help right away. I declined her offer because I'm okay financially. I just need her emotional support to get through this tough time. My mental health took a hit after that day, and I'm trying to stay positive. I'm more worried about myself than my family. Once I finish college, I might not have a home to go back to. While my friends are supportive, I don't want to rely on them too much. I'm working extra hard to do well in school and get a good job after graduation. I've been really anxious about the future, even though I know I can't control everything. I just wish my family wasn't like this. Update 2. So my family showed up at college today, and I was shocked that they'd even had the audacity to turn up here after what they'd done. They said that they wanted to take me out for lunch and discuss certain things with me. We were in the lobby, and I didn't want to have a dramatic showdown in front of all my friends, so I agreed to go with them just so that they'd leave me alone. I didn't trust them, though, so I said that I'd choose the place, and I picked a diner that I usually went to whenever I felt like having something other than the food from the cafeteria. The owners knew me really well, so I knew that I'd count on them to help me out if my family tried anything funny. When I went there, I did see the man who owned the restaurant as well working at the counter, so I knew I was safe, and I even waved at him to let him know I was there. When we sat down, they wanted me to order food, but I didn't feel like eating with them, so I declined. They insisted, so I just ordered a lemonade. They ordered full meals for themselves. While we waited for the food, they got to the point of their visit and talked about their financial problems, which I already knew about. They asked me again to reconsider helping them with their loans by quitting college. I had to remind them that they hadn't talked to me about these decisions before, so I didn't feel responsible for their financial troubles. My sister got upset and accused me of being jealous of her, which I found funny because there was nothing about her that made me jealous. In fact, she's always been the one feeling insecure because of me, not the other way around. About my tone in the first post, some of you mentioned that I sounded bitter and resentful when talking about my sister. I want to address that. Yes, I do feel bitter and resentful. She always got treated better, even though she didn't deserve it, while I got pushed aside because of her. It's a common feeling for anyone in my situation. My mother quieted my sister down, and then came the emotional manipulation. They started talking about how they provided for my education and ensured I had what I needed for college, which is something they were supposed to do as parents. It's not like they were doing me a favor. It's what the law required. I stood my ground and told them I wouldn't help them. I made it clear that if they came back, I'd involve security and the police. My dad got angry, but my mom stopped him. She gave me a disgusted look and said they were ashamed of me, calling me a disappointment. They left without waiting for their food or paying for it. When I asked about it, my sister turned back and said I should pay since I chose the place, then walked out with a smug smile. I was really upset and tried to keep it together for the past few days, but I couldn't anymore. My parents and sister were awful, and it was clear they would do anything to make me feel bad. I was devastated, and I hate to admit it, but my mom's words really hurt. They called me a disappointment just because I refused to let them walk all over me. I tried to hold back my feelings, but I couldn't. After they left, I broke down in the diner, not just with silent tears, but a full-blown breakdown. It was really embarrassing, but I couldn't stop crying, and soon everyone was looking at me. I tried to leave, but the owner's wife, who also knew me, came over, took my arm, and led me behind the counter. I let her because I didn't know what else to do. She and her husband sat with me, comforted me, and helped me calm down. They let the other waiters handle things, and I was so grateful for their kindness, even though my breakdown was disturbing their other guests. When they asked what was wrong, I tried to explain but was so overwhelmed that I could barely speak. I just told them the short version, that my parents and I had a fight, and they left without paying. They must have known there was more to it, but didn't push since I was in such a bad state. The owner offered to pack up all the food they had prepared and said I didn't need to pay for it. Of course, I planned to pay them back because it was a lot of food, but I was really thankful they didn't press the issue. They even called a cab to take me back to college and paid for it themselves. It's really because of the kindness and warmth from other people in my life that I haven't completely lost my mind yet. Once I got back to my dorm room, I called my best friend and asked if she could help me find a lawyer as soon as possible. I explained what had happened that day. I was scared that if my parents were willing to come all the way to my college just to harass me, there was no telling what else they might do since I had already refused to help them. They had nothing to lose now and would probably try even harder to bother me and get under my skin. I knew I had to do something to prevent my parents from bothering me again, so I got my best friend involved. When I told her what had happened, she said she would visit me with her father and their family lawyer as soon as possible. She reassured me that I didn't need to worry about anything, which made me feel like I could finally relax a little. I feel immensely guilty for bothering her and her dad so often, but I have no one else to turn to. I'm fortunate to have such a great friend and an amazing father who is willing to help in ways my own father never would. I can't wait to see them tomorrow because my best friend's presence always calms me down. She's been my friend since kindergarten, knows me better than anyone, and understands how much I struggle with anxiety. She always tries to help me stay relaxed. She's like my own personal anxiety pill, and I love her the most. Her dad is just like her, the best example of what a father should be. They feel more like family to me than my own parents and sister ever have. Even the couple who own the diner, who have only known me for a year, are kinder than my family. I hate my family and wish I hadn't been born into their house. They're not just greedy or mean, they're cruel because they don't care about how they hurt others as long as they're okay. I honestly hope they suffer more because their bad karma is finally catching up to them. I wish nothing but the worst for them, especially after what they did to me today. Today was just unforgivable. Update 3. I've been busy with work and other things, so I haven't been active here. But thank you all so much for your kind words. I'm doing a lot better now, and I've started therapy to deal with my emotions. I realized that the things happening to me weren't normal, and just because I'd been dealing with them all my life didn't make it okay. I was also stressed about my future and felt like I might get really sick if this continued. My best friend and her dad encouraged me to start therapy, and I'm grateful for that. They also connected me with their lawyer when they visited me about 3 weeks ago, and we're filing a restraining order against my parents soon. The long-term plan is to legally separate myself from them altogether. When my best friend and her dad visited me a day after my parents showed up, I was an emotional wreck, but their presence really helped me. Her dad told me not to worry, saying that as long as I had them by my side, I was as good as his own daughter now. My best friend's mom passed away a few months after she was born, but they told me that if my friend ever had a sister, they'd expect her to be like me. That made me feel better and eased a lot of the guilt I was feeling. They'd assured me I wasn't a burden and that they were happy to support me. I spoke to their lawyer, and the next day her dad and the lawyer had to go back to work, but my best friend stayed with me for a few days. We had a lot of fun, and she made everything easier. For a few days I was able to forget about my family. She also made me look for therapists nearby and even booked my first session. Since then, I've been going to therapy twice a week. I'm not completely fine yet, but it's a start. My family hasn't contacted me since the last time, but to be safe, we're still filing for a restraining order because I don't trust them and don't feel safe around them. All I can say right now is that I'm really grateful for what I have, and I hope things get better from here. Now, on to the next story. Story 2. I brought ice cream to surprise my girlfriend but ended up catching her in bed with another man, and she yelled at me instead of apologizing. I've dated this amazing woman for about 2 years and she's meant the world to me. We've been very close and I adore her completely. We always had plans for the week or weekend because we travel a lot, so having these plans set in stone was important due to the arrangements I make for our outings. A few months ago, she suddenly canceled a weekend trip we had planned. It was unexpected, but I understood. She decided to go to a party with her friends instead. I told her I would pick her up whenever she called. I wished her a good time and expected to hear from her at the end of the night. When the night ended, instead of asking me to pick her up, she said she was going to stay over at a friend's house. I was fine with this and told her to rest up and have a good night. When we met up again a week later, something felt off. I had a gut feeling that something was wrong. During dinner, she was avoiding eye contact and seemed distracted. I asked if she was okay or if there was something I could help with, but she said no and just wanted to go home. Something was clearly bothering her, but it was a secret, and nothing I could say or do would make her tell me. Over the next several weeks, she canceled more of our plans to hang out with her friends for drinks. I even tried to invite myself along once, but she insisted I would be bored and should find something else to do. This made me very suspicious because it kept happening. My gut feeling grew stronger, and I was really worried. A week or so later, she canceled our Saturday plans again. She said she was going to the farmer's market with her drinking friend and suggested we could meet up later that night. Well, it only took me 10 minutes to get to the market, so I decided to put on my detective hat and see what was going on. I didn't tell her I was coming. Upon arriving at the market, I looked everywhere but couldn't find her. I sent her a message saying, "Hey, I happen to be at the market too, where are you?" My phone blew up with all kinds of questions. Where did you park? What direction are you in? What shop are you by? I gave her the details, and 10 minutes later, she was standing in front of me, wearing perfume, which she never does. I asked where her friends were, thinking it would be good to say hi, and she told me that her friends had all left to get lunch. My question, dear Reddit, is how do I get to the bottom of this? What do I ask her? Am I imagining things, or is something up? Am I reading too much into this? Update, First off, I want to say thanks for all the advice everyone gave. Some thoughts really resonated with me, and I appreciate it. Secondly, get your popcorn. I know we all like a good story, and sharing this is somewhat therapeutic for me. This all happened a few days ago, and it took me a bit to digest everything. Many people advised direct confrontation and asking her what was going on. After numerous ignored phone calls and text messages, she finally picked up her phone. She apologized, saying her phone had died and she didn't realize it until later. I started by reminding her of a message she had sent earlier, saying she wasn't feeling it between us. After that message, we talked and she said she was just stressed and taking it out on me. I understood because stress happens. So my next question was, a friend told me that you were seeing someone else. What's going on? Do you want to break up? Her response was, who said that? Oh my God, who said that? I'm so tired of all these rumors about me. Who said that? She went on like this for quite a while, more concerned about who had told me than about the accusations themselves. She kept assuring me that she did not want to break up and then started making me feel guilty for doubting her. Didn't I know how she felt about me? That I would say this made her feel like I didn't trust her. She made me feel like the worst person in the world. She also kept asking me to reveal who had told me, but I didn't give in. In the end, she said she was having an emotional, stressful day and just wanted to relax, and we would talk later, maybe over the week. After taking in the advice from here, I felt like she was trying to misdirect me. I sat there feeling like something was off and guilty for accusing my beautiful girlfriend of cheating. I felt terrible, like I had just put a huge crack in our relationship. I love her to pieces. I decided I needed to apologize. I hopped in my car and drove the hour to her city. On the way, I decided to get her a quart of her favorite chocolate ice cream. When I stopped into the shop to pick up the treat, I ran into her daughter hanging out with her boyfriend. They are both in college, taking night classes, and had just finished school for the evening and wanted a treat. We were chit-chatting, and she mentioned she was staying at her boyfriend's place for the night, but had forgotten one of her workbooks and needed to stop at the house to pick it up. After chatting, the daughter's boyfriend left, and we both drove to my girlfriend's house. I pulled into the street because they have assigned parking at her unit. Her daughter pulled up behind me instead of in her own spot. As we got out, I joked, "What's up, neighbor? Took your spot again." As we walked up to the door, she replied, "No, that's not my neighbor's car." Something about the way she said it or her sigh afterward made my heart sink. I had a bad feeling about what we were going to find, but I was hoping for anything but that. We both walked through the door and stopped immediately in the entryway. We could hear them. There's no mistaking the rhythmic thumping and moaning, with little exclamations of pleasure. The bedroom was right across from us. Her daughter looked at me with wide eyes and said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." At that moment, it felt like I was living outside my body. It's hard to explain, but it was like I was just watching everything happen from a distance. I couldn't really feel anything, and I didn't know what to do. Here I was, standing with a quart of ice cream, while my girlfriend was in her bedroom with another man. I had no idea how to proceed. My whole body just felt like I couldn't control it. Her daughter suddenly just screams, "Mom, what the heck?" That sounded like a cross between a banshee wail and a fire truck siren. My girlfriend actually ran out of the bedroom, bared and all, possibly thinking there was some emergency, maybe motherly instincts that something bad just happened, I don't know. She started to formulate words but fell silent as soon as she saw the two of us standing there. Eventually, a stream of words fell out of her mouth. "Oh my God, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. What are you doing here?" She kept repeating it over and over until she ran back into the bedroom. I still stood there, shocked, still having out-of-body experience. I don't know how much time passed, seconds or hours, it blurs. She came out, clothed in her pajamas, and was talking to whoever it was on the other side of the bedroom door. My girlfriend's ex now started yelling at her daughter and me about why we were in the house. I think the realization of everything was suddenly starting to hit her because she started crying and making unintelligible noises. Her daughter starts to scream at her about how could you do this and you did it again. At this point, I had seen enough. I couldn't even look at her anymore. Everything was numb, and my ears felt like they were ringing. My body still didn't feel like my own. I walked over to her kitchen table, put down the ice cream, and said, "I know you get hungry after sex, so here's some ice cream," then walked out the door. She started sobbing, no, but I just kept walking and drove home. That was a few days ago. I didn't go to work the next day. My phone has been blowing up, but I haven't replied. For your reading pleasure, here are some of my favorite messages. If we had spent more time together, it wouldn't have happened. It doesn't mean anything, you know that I love you. If you cared anything about us or our relationship, you would talk to me. Are you ignoring me? Please, I have lots of pleases. If you cared, we would be able to work this out. The messages go on and on. Right now, I still feel kind of numb. I just don't understand how or why this happened. I gave this girl and her family so much, my all, and it didn't even matter. I helped them a lot when things were hard, and I did my best to make our lives better. Even though I know I shouldn't, I feel like I don't matter or like I can't make someone happy. It's really upsetting. I know I'll feel better eventually, but it hurts a lot right now. I don't get why or how this could happen. We were so good together. I want to ask her a lot of questions, but I'm trying to avoid talking to her and just move on. Looking back, I wish I hadn't left the ice cream behind.